Hey guys, Kevin here. It hasn't been a hot minute. This topic actually has been. So, Life22, don't forget to subscribe. Keep posted. We got a lot of upcoming stuff, both in my personal life for my coffee shop. Some business with Miss Della Moore. That's very exciting stuff. A lot of people are very excited about some of the stuff we're doing. Announcements will be coming up. We'll get an interview with Della next week. Let's see here. Yeah, I think that's where we are for that. I've been meaning to make this rant, and figured I'd wait till nighttime to do it because that is what I am want to do. So about a month ago, me and Miley went to Walmart, and I had noticed a pile of Facebook comments on there before then about all the self-checkouts, and I hadn't really noticed it until she mentioned something and said, "Hey, what's with all the self-checkout? Walmart is so evil. Walmart is so evil. They're taking away people's jobs and yada yada." And then I got to explain to her why all this was happening. And as much as Walmart is this big mega giant that isn't altruistic, they're out for profits, right? So, but as much as this seems to be something else we can yell at them for, it's not really their fault. Given their motives, right? Like, if you're a mouse and you want cheese, and then something does something to the cheese or puts something obstacle in your way to get to cheese, you're going to do what you have to get to the cheese. So I thought I was going to talk about this like a month ago, and then got sidetracked. Your life happens, and then we had a whole bunch of stuff happen. What's going on with my? Hello. There we are. We had a whole bunch of stuff happen. I'm trying to think. And then what recently brought it up, there was a discussion item on the agenda at the local common council meeting. And I'm going to make another video in a couple of days or so about where my stance is on that. But this is they're both very similar to like government interference and where I stand on it and how I feel. I firmly believe that it's a hindrance to free market, to our economy, to growth, all that other stuff. And so I'll get into that on the local topic here in a couple days. But I wanted to get into my thoughts, and I guess I'm kind of addressing the Walmart issues that everyone's been talking about on Facebook, but I'm also addressing something I explained to Miley that a lot of people don't get. And like, I get it, she's an 11-year-old, so she's not supposed to instinctively know this. And so I want to say we were driving back from Walmart, and then even about half an hour after I got home, I was still kind of like breaking this down for her. But I'll try to keep this brief. So what happened with Walmart, as most of you know, is that they've been putting in self-checkouts, and that's been going anywhere, right? They announced that at McDonald's and a lot of other places a few years ago when they did wage hikes, right? They said, well, fast food employees are their hand-to-mouth people and blah, blah, blah. And essentially, they don't make a living wage, right? That's the argument. So what happens is the fast food, it hit them first. Now it's hitting just everybody as a whole as a minimum wage increase, right? Across the board for everybody else that isn't fast food. McDonald's started putting in kiosks to reduce employees. They're all high turnover jobs, so most of the employees there, they're going to be lucky if they last. Is this camera spinning? Okay. Anyways, they'll be lucky. A lot of them are lucky if they last a month. And I'm sure Walmart's the same way. And actually speaking with somebody who worked at Walmart, he said they didn't fire anybody. They moved everybody to the stock room, and they can stock and do other things in other departments across the store. And he goes, chances are most of our cashiers are usually people that we burn through first anyways. If they're heavy lifters, they automatically go to stock. And the guy just seemed to go, yeah, no, all they got to do is just, if they're there, they keep their job. If not, they're not getting hired back. No one's going to be filling their position. But they are keeping them on, which is a nice thing to do, right? You don't just, oh, sorry, we got this kiosk now, you're fired, right? That's how you would expect it to go. It's not how it went. So, a little baby thumbs up for Walmart. But the government should not be getting involved in minimum wage. And everyone goes, oh, geez, Kev. Well, then then places like Walmart will always command that low wage, that unlivable, unsustainable, salary. And it's, in the current situation we are in, yes, you may have a point there. But what happens is the government shouldn't have gotten involved any which way. They shouldn't have gotten they shouldn't have gotten involved before unions. Unions got created to protect people's wages, and then what happened was the government kind of sided with unions, and then unions held this power, and then all of a sudden bigger employers, municipalities, all that other stuff are essentially the 1930s trucker union, 1940s, 50s. Anyways, it's the municipalities and the large companies are now the dock workers, right, being mistreated by the unions, because now the unions are taking advantage because they've got government backing saying, no, you have to do exactly what the unions say. Now all of a sudden it's like, and it's because the government's involved. And like, if people wanted to get together in a union as a collective bargaining unit, I mean, that's fine, and then you can negotiate your terms, and that's how it should have been. But there shouldn't have been a government involvement from one side or the other to leverage one side to have more power than the other. Both sides should have equal power, and that fell by the wayside. Because listen, I'm in the construction industry. There are a lot of people out there that they get paid minimum wage. The amount of stuff they destroy in 1 hour's time is not worth minimum wage. They have to work 10 hours. Recently, I've seen a guy destroy $100 worth of painting supplies. Between the paint, the rollers, the sleeves, the brushes, just leaving stuff out in the sun. I watched one guy just ruin about $100 worth of stuff in 1 hour. So if that person was making $12 an hour or whatever, that means that they have to work almost an additional 8 hours to be able to pay back for all the stuff they destroyed. When if you had known and seen this person work and saying, well, okay, you're worth $3 an hour, if that person wants to get a living, I mean, it's hard to describe it. If you're worth $3 an hour, right? This person is worth negative. You know what I mean? Paint kind of got put on the wall, right? But somebody had to go back, and somebody had to pay extra to send somebody back to go finish painting. Somebody else had to finish. You know what I mean? Somebody else had to buy the replacement materials. It's just, that person negative $100, every time they show up to work, should they have to fork over $100? Where do you come into situations like that? You can't just put everybody to level playing field. So now all of a sudden the person who's actually making $12 an hour and doing a stand-up job, who's probably going to get a wage increase because of their work. We're dropping frames, aren't we? Is actually not sorry about that, guys. I don't know what happened. The camera decided to lag out on me. But yeah, no, and then how do you explain to that person they can't get a raise because, you know what I mean, even though they're worth it, and a lot of times they'll get it, the other person should be fired, but there's a lot of other people out there that are doing $8 an hour worth of work, right? They're not as bad as the example I just gave, but they're getting $8 an hour, or or they're worth $8 an hour, or $10 an hour. You know what I mean? And now they can't give this person a raise because you have to pay a minimum to this other guy. So, and this other guy is not worth that, and so you have to make it up somewhere, right? So that's just one example. But yeah, so all these people working at Walmart, now they're given a living wage, right? A living wage. Now I don't know how to solve the problem. What I've learned through my brief excerpt on this planet is that government involvement in almost anything economical is surely cancerous. There's no question about it. The government gets involved in the stock market. the stock market crashes. Billions of dollars in bailouts. And then there's the unregistered ones. Let's not even so government as a whole is a tool in which the powerful can wield and become. I mean, and I'm describing this at a larger scale, right? Like your local mayor isn't. You know what I mean? There's no power for him to corrupt anything. I mean, he can make bad decisions, right? Like the Common Council. You know what I mean? Like they can make bad decisions. Do they? Not all the time, you know what I mean? Like you get a group of people, but like where you really see corruption is at the larger scale when you get into governors, people who create regional boards to do their bidding, and then they spread their corruption and bribery around through that way, and then they get what they want, and the lobbyists can embezzle money and give bribes and whatever, and then even at the national level. But anytime that government gets involved, there's always some element of corruption or one person's malice intent, or even somebody else's passionate intent, right? The road to hell is paved with good intentions, right? So so let's say you're being very forthcoming, you're altruistic, you're just trying to help, and you say these people don't have a living wage. So, and actually, I'm not even getting into the meat and potatoes that I thought I would to in the first 10 minutes. Jesus. So, you're trying to help these people out, right? They work at Walmart. They're making minimum wage. So, what happens is you raise minimum wage $1. Okay? Let's make math easy. Okay? You raise it $1. Now, all of a sudden, the price of bread goes up 50 cents. Price of milk goes up 50 cents. Some of the higher ticket items go up $1, maybe $2. So all of a sudden, price of meat goes up $1 a pound. Here's a good example. It's not the end of the week, right? Let's say they go grocery shopping every week to support their family. So at the end of the week, maybe they work a 40-hour work week. That extra $1 got them $40. But after you add up all the items that they've purchased each week, their grocery bill is increased by $20. Okay, so they're making $20 a week, or $40 a week extra, and their grocery bill is going up $20 a week, because your minimum wage doesn't just affect the employees at Walmart. It affects the warehouse workers on the other side of town that receive and store and deliver milk or breads, right? The bread delivery guys, the ones who just drive it from that warehouse to Walmart, the guys who work in the bread factory, right? Some of the guys on the lower level, they're making minimum wage, so you raise their minimum wage, so that's why the price of bread had to go up. And I mean, it didn't go up just there. It went up because fuel costs went up and other things like that. And now you have to pay $1 more an hour to have that truck driver out there driving your bread to the warehouse to be stored and then distributed to all the Walmarts and other local stores. And so there's a lot of, you know what I mean? There's a lot of added cost there just by increasing minimum wage $1. So now, but getting back to our Walmart employee, this guy is making $40 extra a week, minus his $20 that he has to spend in groceries on his family. At the end of each week, he's only bringing home an extra $20. Okay. Well, the auto mechanic, maybe his car breaks down. The auto mechanic now costs him a little extra because he has to pay all his base level mechanics an extra $1 an hour. So the price of the shop might not be $90 an hour, including overhead and all that material and so whatever. Because most auto body shops are anywhere from like 65, or mechanic shops are 65 to $90 an hour, or something like that, depending on where you go, depending on their expertise, depending on their insurance, what have you. There's a lot of different factors to that. So maybe it's $91. Maybe it's $67. It used to be $65 an hour. So now that guy's repairs are up, right? Well, maybe the guy that reads the gas meter gets an extra $1 an hour. Well, the gas company's not going to lose money. None of these companies are going to lose money. What they're going to do is they're going to push it back on the customer. which is the person that the government's stepping in to try to help. They're injecting money here, but they're not injecting it. They're taking it from all of these people's employers and forcing them at gunpoint to raise their wages $1. Which means that they have to now charge more for the products they're producing and serving and whatever. And who are the consumers? Some of them are their employees. And other people in other industries. And then it's all crossing over. So the gas guy has to pay an extra, gets $1 an hour, but he has to pay more for his gas bill. But so does the guy who works at Walmart. Like, it's... So, that $20 gets squandered really quickly on all the other items that increase in the market. Now, it's not like the day that minimum wage goes up is the day that happens. You'll notice that in shorter, like small restaurants, things like that, prices will go up faster. But by the time you see the increase in price of bread, because Walmart's got a huge inventory, it might be a couple weeks, might be a couple months. And then other items that take longer to build and manufacture and deliver and turn over, televisions, things like that, things that require transportation, things that you require everything to take it from where they're being manufactured, whether it's in America, no, not just specific to televisions, but whether it's made in America or overseas. And then there's tariffs, and there's all that other stuff that increase the price. And then all of a sudden they get to America, then they have to go to a distribution chain, they get sent to the Walmart, and then it has to be stocked on the shelf at Walmart. You'll see that. So some things might just incrementally increase, and then later on they will jump in price because now we've just sold out of the 100 TVs Walmart currently had in inventory. And the new TVs are here. And they've got the adjusted price on them. And none of these companies are dumb. The reason they're in business is to be in business. They're in business to make money. They're not in business to be a helping hand and help everybody out. If you want to help people out, don't turn to your government. If you want to help people out, because the government's just going to kibosh it and screw it up because they're idiots. They don't know what they're doing. They're politicians. They don't understand. They're not economists. They don't know. They just don't know. So you don't turn to your government for this. Back in the day, a lot of people turned to church. Right? They turn to religion to help them, and Catholic charities and Christian charities and all that other stuff, right? So if you want to help, volunteer somewhere. I'm not saying go find religion. I'm just saying that's what people used to do, and we've lost that as people have exiled religion. A lot of people have lost their religion or thrown it away. There's still a lot of religious people out there. I'm just saying that, like, where the younger generation has kind of fallen off the trend, if they feel bad about it, they want to help hungry people and families that can't make a living take your day off. I got Wednesday off. Oh, I'm going to go down and volunteer at the food pantry distributing food. Oh, my brother works at the food place and they get day-old bread and they don't know what to do with it. They're throwing it in dumpsters. Maybe I can coordinate this and help and be a helping person. That's how you help these people. You don't raise their wages, because now, in addition to that climactic effect where they actually, at the end of every week, they're probably actually losing $20 more a month overall. And you're thinking, oh, this is great. It's not great. You're spiking inflation. You're spurring inflation. You're not really helping these people. You're making people hate businesses, which, I mean, like, it's fine to hate Walmart, but you know what I mean? The local hardware store, the local grocery store that has the same, they just can't afford to have touchscreen machines. So they have to jack the price of their stuff way up because they have to have all those employees working cash registers. So, and then they're going to get hurt the worst. Walmarts will survive because they can afford to rehab a whole section and turn it into touchscreen things, because they also have bulk pricing. They're putting them on 100,000 Walmarts across the country where they're just, the local food place does not. Your local Stop and Goes and 7-Elevens, they got to pay for employees, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They can they're going to pinch pennies where they can, and that's it. And you're going to hurt them because people are going to, oh, I can go to Walmart. I have to check my own shit out, but price of bread there is only 50 cents more, and here it's $2. So of course it's $2. They've got to pay for 10 cash registers with employees manning them. I'm trying to think what else there is that comes with this. I mean, you could go on for days talking about the ramifications. How about the fact that, so you're the person making, I'm going to call the New York State minimum wage like $12 because it's like $11.60 and it's $11.70 or $11.80 or something like that, and it's going to keep going up. So let's say this person is getting $12 an hour minimum wage, and then you raise minimum wage $1. Now they're making $13. How about the person that's already at a job that was willing to pay them, like they hired on, it was was a little more skilled, not super skilled, but it was skilled enough that they didn't deserve minimum wage, and they're about to get a raise, right? They're about to go to like 13.25 an hour, right? That's I've been here a year and a half, about to get a 25-cent an hour raise. In the long run, it helps. I'm starting to get into my retirement fund. I've got health insurance coverage. I'm working 40 hours a week, right? This sounds good for this guy. Except all the grunts in there's a couple grunts in the warehouse that don't have any forklift training or anything like that doesn't warrant them anything other than minimum wage. And now all of a sudden, he gets his raise. They get raised $1. They're making $13 an hour. He's making 13.25. That was his benefit. He was, sure, he still increased for that year, but now you build this resentment. You get people in the workforce that now hate the people that work under them. Like, listen, this guy, I worked hard for my forklift certification, and I got an extra $1 an hour when I started this job because I had it. These people are unwilling to get it, train for it, learn it, whatever, and they move boxes by hand. I get to drive this cool thing. I get $1 more an hour. I made sure that I'm not an idiot, and I came to work every day on time, left, maybe stayed a couple minutes late every day just to make sure I wasn't dipping out of work early. And you turn around and you're giving this guy that extra $1. But the businesses got to save money, and they're not going to just say, "Oh, I'm sorry, everybody's going up $1." No, minimum goes up $1, which means all the bottom line people go up $1. So those people are all making that. All right, so going back to the Walmart example, all those people are making an extra $40 a week. This guy isn't doing that. This guy is already budgeted his 25 cents, which he's maybe going to put into his HSA, his health savings account, in case something happens. You know what I mean? He's already budgeted that money. It was easy to budget a $0.25 an hour raise, right? And especially because he knew it was coming at a year and a half. But then all of a sudden, all the grunts behind him, you're getting $1. Okay, so they're making $40 more a week. And this guy's making, $10 because that quarter breaks down that way. $10 more a week, it's $40 more a month. You just throw it in my HSA. Just tell the people in HR or payroll to throw in my HSA, right? Boom, then everybody else does this. Now guess what happens? This guy's groceries don't stay stagnant. They go up with else's groceries. And now all of a sudden, this guy is working just as hard as everybody else, and you're actually bringing the middle class, bringing those... Oh, what the hell's going on now? Come back to me. There we go. This guy's... You're bringing the middle class down. You're cutting the middle out. You're polarizing everything. Because now the rich aren't affected by this, right? The rich... They had an idea. They were smart about it. Whatever. Maybe they were born into money. This isn't. I'm not about vilifying the rich, right? A lot of times people say, "Oh, the rich don't have this problem." Well, yeah, they don't. They got other problems. More money, more problems, right? And we're not attacking them. But what I am saying is that if you try to help the poor and raise the minimum wage, all of a sudden this guy was making $1 or $2 more an hour than minimum wage. His groceries all went up. Now all of a sudden, he was getting an extra $10 a week, which he already had planned and set aside, and he knew what he was doing with it. Well, now he's got to use it to offset his groceries, and his groceries going up by $20 a week. So all of a sudden, he's losing $10 a week because you raised somebody he considers a knucklehead below him to his level, or just slightly below his level. And now all of a sudden, you're building resentment. And now this is where, this This right here, I would be steamed. I'd be like, listen, and because people don't just sit there and go, well, it's the government's fault. Well, they do. All right, they do. They say it's the government's fault, but they also want to be able to like translate their anger and inflect it on somebody else, right? And, you know, people say misplaced anger. They've got this anger, and chances are they're going to inflict it on that person. That person, listen, you just got $1 an hour raise. Now my groceries are up. I have to work the same to make less. I have to work the same to make less because I have to support your wage increase, right? And that builds a lot of resentment. You get a lot of, and then resentment turns into hatred, and you're gonna get a lot of that. And then this guy at home, he's sitting there like telling the missus like, oh, our groceries went up $20 a week. The raise only cuts that in half. The missus' car broke down on the way to the diner that she works at. Diner's laying off staff because minimum wage is up. They're putting more weight on those. Everybody's bills are going up, so less people are eating out at the diner, and the diner's losing business as it is. The diner's talking about shutting down. These are things that happen. Like, I hate to go Goodwill Hunting sidetracked on you, but Christ, I don't know what to tell you. Like this, the government getting involved in wage increases is the worst idea I've ever heard of. Because I'm pretty sure to this day drinking poison isn't an idea. But this is drinking poison. And people don't seem to get it. They're like, yeah, minimum wage. Let's vote that guy in. You know who does it? You know why they're raising minimum wage? You think it's because politicians care? You think it's because they give a shit? You think it's because they complained? Your lobby group, your Good Samaritans formed a non-for-profit and decided to, we're going to protest and we're going to do this. No, they didn't listen because of that. They listened to that and said, listen, we got a whole bunch of voters here. If we raise minimum wage, we're going to get reelected. That's exactly what happened. And there are a lot more poor people than there are rich people. So, if you want to stay in office, you suck up to all the poor people by giving them what they want. They want more food stamps. They want more welfare. They want more Medicaid. They want more things that help them because they're starving to death. Well, that's the thought, right? A lot of them aren't. So, there's a few. Like, yeah, food stamps gives people a leg, right? Like, all right, I get it. But these people don't need that much of a leg. And it's like, oh, more free stuff from the government. Thank you, government. Like, I'm going to keep voting for you. Like, that's not that. And that's how you get guys like Governor Cuomo in there, right? Like, and I've got a stand I'm going to bring up later. So I want New York to make a stand. But, I mean, this is almost a 30-minute rant. But, I mean, I think this is fair. This is a fair topic to talk about. And I bet you nobody's going to listen to it. I bet you going to have 10 freaking viewers on this video. If I said the R word, if I screamed the F word at the top of my lungs, if I brought one of my kids in here and shook them on camera, people would watch. But if I talk to you about some real issues that are going on in our society that a lot of people don't understand. People don't understand this. They don't break down like the reasoning. Like, you don't have to be an economist to figure out like how this works. It's pretty easy. You know what I mean? Well, it's not super easy, but it's easy enough. And if there's guys like me who can break it down and show you, at least if you're watching and you don't understand this, you can figure it out. We can rally together. Maybe somebody else has an idea to fix this. But if you threw out the system and started over and didn't let the government interfere with the economy and wages and any of that stuff and just said, listen, don't let crackheads kill me, pave my roads. If my house burns down, please have a crew of guys to pee on it and put it out. I mean, that's what I'm looking for in government. But what happens is now we're in this system where you're not going to throw the government out. You're not going to toss it away. It's not that easy to throw it out. And people are going to... we've got to fix what's here. I mean, because that's really what we're left with, unless you're going to just, complete overhaul, which is very unlikely. shit, a lot of people call that treason, right? Like, if you know what I mean. And so the way to do it would be to throw it all out and start anew and say, like, oh, look at that, you just abolish wage increases. Like, that makes sense. But I don't know how to back out now, because, right, if you were to just abolish minimum wage, you know who drastically wins? It's going to be the Walmarts. It's because these people need a job. Well, do they need a job? I mean, let's think about it. Like, if you lose your job, you are guaranteed. Call your local social services office. They'll tell you there is no way that anybody in this day and age is allowed to starve to death. Like, even if you're rich. Like, the only way that you die is if you kill yourself. Or something that man has not doesn't, you know what I mean? Cancer, right? Like, you hit by a bus. But, like, you could lose your job, max out all your credit cards, file bankruptcy, your wife could leave you, take all the kids. Because even when you don't pay your child support, they throw you in jail and you get 3 meals a hot and amazing health and dental insurance. It's hard to fail, but so, like, you can't just remove minimum wage. If you remove minimum wage, all these companies are going to have all the bargaining chips, which in a perfect world, they would say, listen, we need workers. Are you going to work? No. I'm not coming in for this, right? So the government setting minimum standards creates a pay scale. And the pay scale has to be followed. It creates this archetype that people have to follow it. You have to fit into this, right? Oh, you're not a manager. You're not getting that price. You're this. Minimum wage. And there'd be a lot more flexibility, a lot more looseness, a lot more viscosity, right? Be more like oil. Just translucent. You can just... I'll push carts for you, man. If you really need somebody to push carts, I'll push carts for you. But I'm not doing it for less than $14 an hour. That's it. I don't care if the guy with the patch over his eye who bumps the carts into people's cars is mad that I'm making 14 and he's only making 8. He's got a patch over his eye. He keeps bumping into a cart. You know what I mean? Like, at least get with the program, get another job. Sweep. Bump your broom into people. I mean, it's one of those, like... If you show your worth as an individual, and plus that'll also bring back individuality, you'll have less resentment. You'll have resentment. People will resent you because you're better, or you've negotiated better than they have. But that's not such a bad thing when Big Brother mandates that somebody that has not done anything to prove themselves to anyone gets to triple, gets to cripple your household food budget and move into your job position alongside you. So, wage increases. Walmart, not the bad guy in this one. Still kind of not a bad guy, not a good guy. I mean, it's Walmart, right? Like, it's not a mom and pop shop, and I mean, mom and pop shops are great. They create diversity. They keep your money local, but they also, if they had the money, they'd put in touchscreens, and then all of a sudden they'd be the bad guys, wouldn't they? Oh wait, see, it's the government. Government's the bad guy in this one. So, all right, guys, I've jawed your ear off for 34 minutes. So, I'm gonna get this video uploaded, and we'll catch you guys soon. Next day or so, we'll talk to you about upcoming local economic changes. Sweet.